Hey, Chantal, we're streaming this, aren't we? Okay, folks, good morning. Welcome to PPI, 10-Minute Trades Trade Room. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director at 10-Minute Trades. Please remember that all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. It is possible to lose money trading futures, okay? So trade carefully. All right, so we're looking at PPI. PPI, when it trades by itself, had been having some good months, and then it really had a very, very bad month in December. And we went back and tested when it trades by itself, and it's okay, but not as good as we were hoping it would stay. Now, it's not trading by itself today. So this is a tricky report because of the fact that it's not trading by alone, not trading by itself. So Lou, there's not a tested MQ setup that's authorized yet. It's going to take this report needs a little bit of work. Let me just check one thing. I don't know that I would be very careful about trading it live today also. And the reason for that is because I think there's going to be a lot of attention paid to the report. I think the report has a very strong possibility of moving. I think that's going to happen. I think it's going to move. I think it's going to overpower the Thursday claims. But the history of Thursday claims with other reports over the past time period just hasn't been great. Its recent history hasn't been great. Thursday claims when it trades by itself seems to be better than when it trades with other instruments. And PPI has only traded with Thursday claims 3 times out of the last 8. 3 out of the last 8. It stopped in August. It was decent in October, and it was a small profit in May. But in August and May, the markets were completely different than the way they are now. Even in October, they were different. So the reality is we don't have a great setup because it's an event that doesn't trade the way it's trading today regularly. And that's the big issue with PPI. PPI just doesn't have enough consistency, not even so much in its reactions, but in the way that it trades. In other words, in June, it traded with retail. Now, that only happened once in the last 8 months. So the issue is there's not a lot of good testing for this report. So the truth is it's a crapshoot. Let's be honest, okay? This is a crapshoot. It's an unknown what's going to happen. We don't have enough testing to really go above and beyond what we've been doing for Thursday claims with or without other reports. So, hold on. So Chantal, you can talk to me. Okay, so folks, tell me if you can hear me well, or if you're having trouble hearing me. Are you having trouble hearing me, or can you hear me well? Fine, fine, fine. Well, Chantal, I'll change my headset for the next trade room, and you'll let me know if you can hear me better. Okay? And we'll see if it's the headset or if it's you. Okay? All right. So look, the reality is this is a crapshoot. That's the reality. It's a crapshoot. Now, I did a little bit of very, very preliminary testing. Now, why is it a crapshoot? It's a crapshoot because I think this market is different than any of the other markets, time periods that PPI traded with Thursday claims. Okay, that's why. So we have a report for Thursday unemployment claims, if I can get the right one. But it's really, it's like a mini report because there's no history, okay? There's no history. So you have a bracket of 8, a stop of 12, okay? Bracket of 8, stop of 12, targets of 8 and 15 on gold. And I would go with a smaller first target. And I might even go something like 6 and 13. But I would just probably shrink my first target. I wouldn't trade a lot of contracts because this is a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot, okay? Just, I'm going to say it over and over. This is an unknown. Now, I did preliminary testing. There's not a lot of testing you can do using an NQ setup. I know there's folks out there that love the NQ. It's still a high-risk crapshoot, okay, Lou? Just so you know, I'll happily tell you my NQ setup, but I'm not authorizing it. I'm just saying that there's no way to know because there's not enough events to test it on. I tested it on October. Let's take a quick look. I tested it on October 10/14. With a bracket of 14. And it looked good actually in October. Okay. But October is not today's market. I think there's going to be a bigger reaction. Then I tested it in August, and I don't like the way the replay data looks here. So I don't know if this is an accurate test. I want to be honest. I'm not happy with the way the chart looks. And the replay data looked a little weird. Then it kind of worked. So, you know, the NQ, normally I would say, hey, the NQ needs more testing, but there's no reports to test it on that would have very much meaning because it doesn't trade like this regularly, and I don't have dates to test it. So this is a crapshoot, no matter how you look at it. Now, for people out there that want to even simulate the NQ, this testing I used was a bracket. I used a 12, but I think today is going to be crazier. I tested with a bracket of 12, a stop of 18, and targets of 7 and 20. Okay. And an entry time of 59. That was my NQ test. A bracket of 12, a stop of 18, targets of 7 and 20, and an entry time of 59, 829, 59. That would be my NQ test. Now, if someone out there wants to test it in sim and record it for me, you'd be my best friend. You would be my best friend. That's the truth. I'm going to turn on my recorder. Hang on a second here. Now, look, some days you have trades that you love and you can't wait to trade them. Like yesterday. Honestly, yesterday was a day I was really looking forward to trading. I was looking forward to the WASD. And even though the CPI has been a bear of a trade, I was very confident that the NQ was going to work. And it did. Okay. It did. So, but today it's the exact opposite. We've got a report with no good testing, and we've got a 30-year bond auction. The bond auctions haven't been very good. And we have natural gas. Natural gas has been trading like a banshee, okay? But we can do the after the news trade on natural gas, so that's fine. But you understand what I mean. We don't have reports that I love, I'm looking forward to, that I'm comfortable, confident that we're going to make money. This is a crapshoot day. And I want to be honest and upfront. You don't have to trade crapshoot days. You can practice on crapshoot days, right? I know you're going to hate the word crapshoot, but so I'm going to look at MGC on the right, and I'm going to look at a 30-second chart. I might even look at a 15-second chart, but for now I'm going to look at 30. And I'm going to look and see if after the news, maybe there's an entry using the squeeze, maybe after the news. So I'm going to set up a squeeze play on my right chart, and it's just a test trade. I'm not trading live, and I'm looking at the MQ because I'm trading gold on the other side. So my trade type is going to be a squeeze play. If I can find it, there it is. And I'm going to label it. And it's on micro gold. And you don't need any times or anything on a squeeze play. But I'm going to set up two targets, one for 7 or one for 8 and one for 15. I'm going to use a stop of 18. And I'm just looking for ticks above the range is a 1, ticks below the range is a 1. And my bar look back is a 2. So I'm kind of doing it like we do the after news oil and gas setups, okay? Ticks above is a 1, ticks below is a 1. I'm going to turn on my graphics so I see the range get drawn. 1 click bar look back is 2, so I'm just using 2 bars to help me decide if I have a trend or not. And I've got 1 target for 8 ticks, 1 for 15 with a stop of 18, and the trade type is a squeeze play. When you enable the squeeze play, it gives you a whole bunch of buttons. Okay, so the only buttons I have to worry about are the 2 in the middle. It draws my range. After the news, I'm going to see, first of all, right now on gold, it's not a huge trend. No, it's points, so it is a pretty good trend. It's pretty negative. Gold's pretty negative. It's down $4. So that's a lot. So there's a good negative trend. So if we see good news, that would theoretically push gold to the downside if things were the way they used to be. But we're just going to look. We're going to see if there's a direction at the time of the news that's strong, and if there will be a change in direction that we can take, or maybe even a phenomenal continuation. We'll see. Let's see what the news is. We'll see if there's anything for us using the squeeze. All right. Let me just see all my news pieces. It says too much news. Okay, good. I like the way they're doing it this morning. Let me fix my news so it looks correct. Give me a second here. So the important number is initial jobless claims, okay? Initial jobless claims is the important number. They're looking at 200,000. They're looking at 200,000. So, you have to ask yourself, is this a report that you want to risk $250 on? Okay. That's the minimum risk if everything went perfectly. Okay. And you lost. It's 2 targets for $240. It's very hard to trade a single contract. It's really hard because you have to guess. You have to guess what target should you use if you trade one contract. Should you use the larger target as your target? Should you use the smaller target? Should you use in between the targets? It's impossible to know. And everything about this trade is a crapshoot. Everything, right? So do you want it? The question is, do you want to risk a lot of money? Do you want to risk a lot of money? So I really don't, but I think there's going to be a move. Okay. I think there's going to be a move. So I'm willing to trade one contract with a big target. That's the risk I'm going to take. Okay. I don't want to risk $250. I think it's because it's a crapshoot. That's it's not my money, it's the company's money, but I treat it as if it's my money. Okay. It feels like my money. It feels a lot like my money. The bracket is 8 on a breakout. Like I said, I'm just going to use one position because I don't want to lose. I don't want to risk $240 minimum. That's if it doesn't blow through the stop. If the news acts crazy, this could be crazy. It shouldn't be, but it could be. But I'm going to use a target of 28 ticks, which is big. I don't expect it to get hit, so I have to pay attention because I may have to manage my way. I will have to manage my way out of this trade. I will have to manage my way out of this trade. Okay. What does that mean? It means that I may have to move my stop or my targets to get a profit if it goes my way. Okay. So my stop is 12. My entry time is 8:29:59. It's a breakout trade, right? I'm going to label the trade. All right. Gold PPI breakout. So I'm just trading one big target. Not huge, but 28 ticks. That's a lot for this report, but this is, let me just put my account on. But there is a possibility it could move because producer price index is inflationary information. And we all know how seriously the market is looking at inflationary information. And what's interesting about yesterday's PPI is even though the inflation was hot, because the trend has been down over the past, I think, 3 reports, it was not considered bad news. So that's the thing about news. You could get a result that on the face value might be considered bad. Now the gold open is taking place. That's why you have that little pop in gold. On its face value, a news report could actually be bad news. But when you analyze it a little bit more deeply, it's not bad news. It winds up being the opposite because of the way the news is being analyzed. Let's check our sync. By going to the website time.is. And if you notice, it said the word synchronizing. I'm listening to the news in my headset. Bear with me. There's also grain sales this morning, which is very interesting. There could be a grain trade this morning because there's grain news. Now, I don't even know. I want to be truthful. The only time I ever trade grain is WASD or quarterly grains at noon. I don't even know the open and close time of the grains. For some reason, in the back of my mind is the grains are open from 8:30 to 8:45 in the morning. And don't quote me on that because I'm not sure. But if somebody wants to look at wheat, soybean, and corn, each have a report this morning at 8:30, which I don't think I remember ever seeing that before. Very interesting. Don't let me leave the room without looking at corn and soybeans. Okay, folks? Somebody don't stop me from leaving the room if I don't remember. So does everybody understand the truth? I mean, I'm always truthful, even though there's a lot of people here. And, you know, you can trade this report in sim and nobody would laugh at you or make fun of you. You know, don't ever let anybody tell you how to trade. Always trade the way that you think is the right way, right? Isn't that the most important thing you can do? Trade the way you think is right. I'm just going to check my brackets this morning because I'd like to. So you've all watched me do this. I put my time on 0. I put my charts on sim, right? And then I put my chart on sim. I'm just looking at my bracket size. I just want to see how wide it is. So that's perfect. That's perfect. So now I just go back and put my strategy back so it works. So what did I change? I changed the time. So I put it back to 8. And it's a good thing I checked. I knew my time was wrong. 8:29:59, not 8:28:59. 8:29:59. 8:29:59 is the correct time. 8:29:59. What would have happened had I not checked my strategy just now? My report would have triggered a minute early. 8:29:59, not 8:28. Even professionals make mistakes, right? Professional race cars drivers, they make mistakes. They get killed. So you've got a trend. What we talk about, the magnet trade, gold wants to test that low. Gold wants to test the low. Gold wants to test this low. So I'm almost not interested in the squeeze play right now. Just watch, okay? In your mind, I'm entering gold short if it breaks this range, 18.20 and 10 cents. I'm going short gold in my mind, 18.20.10, okay? Just to see if my magnet trade works, 18.20.10. My target is the low of the day, 18.18.60. That's my target, okay? This is a mind trade. I'm short gold, okay, in my mind. I've got an 18 to 20 tick stop. and I'm trading it with micro, right? And I'm staying in through the report. I don't know if you can survive through the report. Now look, so you're getting a change in direction. Sometimes the magnets don't work, right? It's a 20 tick stop. So let's say 1820, 1840, or 1820, 20 tick stop. You know, you might be out, right? Might not have worked. 1820, so 20 ticks would be 1822. 10 ticks of the point. So you're still in, but it almost stopped you out. Timothy, it's not a range trade. You don't need time. It's a manual entry trade, right? You're using the buttons, remember? Time doesn't matter when you're using buttons. It's a manual entry. When you press the button, that's going to determine if you get in the trade. A traditional range trade uses time. This does not. Okay, so we're watching PPI. I don't know if the PPI is going to work, folks. Remember, I said this is a crapshoot. I wasn't kidding. Now, if we get a burst in one direction, we have a chance that it'll work. Now, if it's moving fast, I can hit the break even button to get my stop to break even. That BE button, if I'm in profit, it will put my stop to break even plus or minus a tick. And on top of everything else, a Fed person is talking, right? Why do they talk when there's news? So gold was trending down. Now, if you ever don't like a market that you're trading and you want to cancel a trade, just uncheck the check. Click the check and turn it off. And that cancels a breakout trade. The squeeze play, you don't have to cancel. It's a manual entry. So my magnet trade is one tick away from being stopped out. Or you could say it is stopped out because it was, it might be 2 ticks away. Just watching, got a minute to go. Got a minute to go. Okay, which news, will the news be on time? That's an issue too. Will the news come out on time? Will they come out together? They might not. "15 seconds. All right. There's our bracket. It's going to stop out. It's going to stop. So you could just tell by the kind of reaction when it just jolts and doesn't keep going. It filled us at the bottom of the candle, bottom of candle. It's exactly what I was worried about with that trade. Total crapshoot. Plus the news. The news was negative on jobs and negative on PPI. It should have just gone up. By one tick, our bracket was too small. By one tick, folks. One tick. One tick. A 10-tick bracket, and it would have been safe. So in theory, you've got to move up, right? You have a move up. You have a move up. The news was negative. The news was negative. So I don't see, I would want to trade in the direction of the news, which, you know, it's saying negative. So theoretically, right, let's say we get a negative signal here, a negative signal, which you don't have yet. Would you take the short? You have mixed news. You have a little bit of PPI. The main PPI is positive, it's negative, but I think negative is a positive because it might mean less inflationary. You follow me? It might mean less inflationary. So you have a pull down, right? You have a pull down. Is it going to work? I think I was late to the party. I hit the trade late, to be truthful. I hit that downward trend late. I'm going to combine my orders and just see if it'll hit the first order. There's the reversal signal. Okay. That's the reversal signal. It's moving in my direction. It's going. It touched the target and bingo. So the reversal worked. Okay. You had a signal going up. You had a trend up right after the news, very clear. And then I just waited for a change in direction. The major news was red, negative, so I went to the negative side, especially because we had a negative trend in gold also. So that's why I did that. David was asking, how do you set up a bracket trade? A bracket trade? Chantal, it might be that ES was better, but you know, this report, it's a crapshoot. It's not a stable, there's not a stable way to test it. There's not a stable way to test it. That's a squeeze play. It's a squeeze play. David, didn't I send you the video? It's in that video, right? So what you do, you choose the trade type squeeze play. If you want to set up this trade, you choose the trade type squeeze play instead of breakout. So trade type, but it's also in that video I sent you. It goes through the whole procedure. So the trade type is squeeze play. So when you set up anything, nothing's really different. You just have to know that when you use a squeeze play, you're going to get buttons. You're going to get buttons. So you don't have to use time. We're not using time. We're not using brackets. We're using a range. And what creates the range is the one-click bar look back. And the number 2 is a 2-bar range. I'm creating a 2-bar range with the one-click bar look back. And then I'm going to enter 1 tick above the range or 1 tick below the range. And I'm going to show the range on the chart by clicking graphics shown on chart. And then you just still put in a position, how many contracts, position 1 and 2. You have your targets and a stop. No times. You don't need times. And that sets up the trade. When you enable a squeeze play trade, it puts the buttons on this chart and then it draws the range. So by drawing the range, it shows you the inner lines are the range. The outer lines are where the orders will be placed when you press the button. We know in a squeeze play the direction we're going to go. I know the direction I'm going to go. Okay. So theoretically, here's a long signal. So I would click one click range long in a squeeze play because I would know the direction I'm going to go. All right. That's how you set up the squeeze play. You don't have to worry about time. You don't have to worry about entry times, brackets. You're doing the one-click look back. One-click look back is your range. How many bars are you looking back to create your range? One-click bar look back. I'm looking back 2 bars to create my range. Okay. That's how I would do it. All right. Any other questions? Any other questions? So look, I said, sorry, I'm here. Sorry. My charts are doing weird stuff. Hang on. I don't know why are my charts blinking? Do you guys see blinking charts? Yeah, I don't know why they're doing that. I'm going to turn off my charts for a second. Let me, I'm going to close the room and come back. Stay where you are. Stay where you are. I wanted to look at the grains real quick, remember? I wanted to look at the grains. Okay, it stopped. It stopped. Chantal said the ES looked good. But again, because it's a crapshoot, we don't, yes, the ES looked good. The ES looked good. So, you know, maybe on Thursdays, we used to trade the ES on Thursdays. We used to trade the ES on Thursdays. So, you know, it may be time to go back to the ES. It's possible. It's possible. Chantal, you know, this just means work for you. So thanks everybody on YouTube. If you give us a couple of likes, we'd really appreciate it. NQ did not work. No, I'm not surprised, Lou. I wasn't comfortable that it was a good setup. The ES looks good. The ES looks good. The NQ. See, the NQ looks like it shot down first, possibly. Might have shot down first. Corn. It doesn't really look like there was much of a grain trade this morning on that news, okay? There wasn't much of a corn trade, nor soybeans, okay? I mean, there was a little bit of a pop-up on soybeans, very low volume, it looks like, this time of day. Very good, Lou. Good for you. So the trend appears to be up on gold. And the ES was up on that news also. The ES was up on that news also. All right, folks, what are the optional settings? There are no optional settings for that. I mean, well, then what that there's no optional settings for that. What it means is hover your mouse over the words target one, stop, move. There are no optional settings. It's whatever you type in. It's whatever you type in. If target one gets hit, where do you move your stop? That's what that command means. Target one, stop, move. If target one gets hit, where are you going to move your stop to automatically? Break even, BE, BE plus one, not BE1, BE plus one. Hover your mouse. If you want to know what a piece of the strategy means, hover your mouse over the command and it prints. Look, hover your mouse. Target one, stop, move. Hover your mouse. When target is hit, move stop loss from current position to here. Example inputs are even shown. Okay. BE, BE minus one. Okay. Hover your mouse over the fields and it will give you extra information. Okay. All right. So look, I said, honestly, this was a crapshoot. And it was not a good report to trade. Not a good report. Not with gold. Not with gold. So, Chantal, I got some testing for you if you have time. I have a bunch. All right, folks, we will be back. Let's see what time we'll be back. Thank you, everybody on YouTube. If you give us a like, sign up for the channel. You'll know the next time we are streaming. We're streaming again natural gas today at 10 o'clock. So we'll be back here at 10 o'clock. Okay, folks? That's our next room, 10 o'clock. So I'll see everybody at 10 for natural gas. See everybody at 10 for natural gas. Any other questions before we shut down till 10? Anybody? Okay. So I'll see everybody at 10. 10 o'clock we'll be here for natural gas.